That is Section 62(1) of the Public Audit Act. Then the penalty is prescribed under Section 62(2), and it states that a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a time not exceeding 3 years or to both. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. So basically, this was 3 months late. When the auditor received the documents 3 months late, technically speaking, because it was on the 19th. That's when you got the documents. So just about 3 months. Governor, you had something you wanted to say? Or do you want to?
Chair, maybe just as a request to the members as they make their deliberations and their decisions. The law is actually quite clear, but in the natural acts of justice as well, I would plead with this committee, considering that those two accountants who had been given this responsibility, action has already started being taken. One of them being the fact that they are no longer at this particular hospital. Two, we are already going through and trying to look into the nitty-gritties as to what actually caused them to have this kind of delay. I would beg that in the wisdom of this committee to allow us to take internal action on those two particular accountants. Chair, even as we do that as well, one of the things that we as a county government are in the process of doing is to date they have started evaluating the digitalization concept of all our facilities, from the smallest to the largest. So that at no given time do we end up having a situation like what we're having currently. Again, I leave it to the wisdom of the committee and the able senators, but internally it is action that we've already started on the same.
Thank you, Governor. It's also my responsibility as a chair to guide the committee members and give context. Number one context is that this committee ultimately holds the governor accountable under Article 179, but particularly on this particular matter, the ultimate responsibility lies with the CEO, who is the final accounting officer for us as a committee. Number two guidance is that when I read the meeting that we had last year, in presence of this committee, when the committee visited Mombasa, was the CEO. That's why I asked, is Dr. Iqbal in this meeting? Then the last context is that we visited Mombasa in the context that this was a persistent problem for this particular hospital. It was not the first time that this issue was coming in place. We visited in that context that it was becoming a persistent problem of non-submission or late submission of documents. So I just want to guide that to the committee, and it's up to the committee to make that decision. I see Senator Mbugua raising his hand, so please, Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Before you make that crucial decision, I would want to know how long the CEO has been holding that position in that particular hospital.
Thank you. I have been the CEO since 2014.
That's why I say that it was a persistent issue. So the CEO has been there since 2014. Go ahead, Senator Chimera.
Chair, I just want to understand, the governor seems to be laying the blame on the accountants. When were these accountants, the former ones, released from CPGH, and the new one, when did he come on board?
Chair, actually when we realized that the timelines were not going to be able to be achieved, immediately action was taken. I want to also take us back, Chair, to which were actually within the law to take that particular action. The PFM Act 156 is that the CC in charge of finance shall start instituting the relevant actions, including removing those accountants from the position that they are holding. And when we said that we're removing these people from those positions, the intent was not just to remove them and keep them somewhere else. And that is for the avoidance of doubt, is we also want to find out, is there a reason as to why they delayed this? To Chair, Mombasa has always worked on another act that before the country got into the element of FIF, Mombasa had an act which was known as the Mombasa Health Act. And in the Mombasa Health Act, which was enacted as a county government act, it had always allowed for funding from facilities to be retained at facilities. As a matter of fact, your colleague senators had initially told us that that particular act should not be there because everything was meant to go to the CRF. Only after the advent of the FIF is when we now had to use that as a basis. But before that, it was always the Mombasa Health Act. And Coast General, over the years, has always been audited together with executive. So, Chair, I just thought I'd give
Governor,
note on that.
Sorry, Governor, you didn't answer my question, Governor.
Just a moment, Senator Chiba, I want to guide this meeting. I want us to strictly converse on why were the financial statements submitted that late. When
That is indeed my question, Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
And Governor, this is a very straightforward question. When were the accountants released? When was the new accountant engaged?
We removed the accountants just before December. Last year.
Okay.
And immediately thereafter, we brought in the new accountants.
Of course, then there's nothing would have done basically by the time he was reporting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Chair.
Senator Kavindu?
Yeah, Chair, I want to hear from the Governor. Were the accountants sacked or they were transferred to another edit?
The process of sacking an employee, Chair, takes quite a bit of time. One, you need to be able to give them all reasonable issues as to why they are actually being sacked. It's easier to remove someone from elected post than to remove someone who has been employed. And I think it would be the right way to go about it is as we have used the PFM Act, Section 156, where the CC for Finance has removed those particular accountants. And as we do that as well, internal investigations are ongoing, which can be able to, one of the reasons, of course, is the fact that they actually sent this late. That in itself can be a reason. But we have to be able to allow the Public Service Board as well to engage them directly. If it was a private company, by now someone would have already gone home. But unfortunately, the process of removing someone.
No, I don't want to cut you. I don't want to cut you. I want to guide. Because, just a moment, because we've got a number of other things we need to look into. Let me guide members that for this committee, I appreciate the governor's effort and the administration action that has been taken, but disciplinary action for this committee is actually not into the accountants or any other person. It's actually limited to the governor, the CEO, and actually the chief finance officer. So let's not converse about the accountants and all that. That appreciate has been taken, that action, but I want you to hold to account the three officers who are before us, duly so by the Constitution, who is the governor, the CEO of the hospital, and the chief officer finance, being the person who is supposed to be taking the fiduciary responsibility according to what the legal council guided us. CC Finance. CC Finance.
Before you come in, Chair, I think the key word here in the law is accounting officer. So I think the legal needs to explain to us, in the contents of the law, who are the accounting officers in this case. Is the CEC Finance an accounting officer? Is the Chief Officer Health an accounting officer? Is the CEO an accounting officer? In the context that the law talks about, I think then it will help you answer your question.
Thank you, Chair. In this particular context, it would be the person in charge of the hospital who is considered as the accounting officer under Section 23 of the Facilities Improvement Financing Act. That is the act that mandates that every health facility has to be audited separately, and it provides in Section 23 that within 3 months after the end of each financial year, the accounting officer for a county health facility shall submit the facility's financial statements to the Auditor General in accordance with the Public Audit Act. So this part is consistent with Section 47 of the Public Audit Act, and also submit a copy of the facility's financial statements to the Controller of Budget and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. So that is the annual reporting that is required under the Facilities Improvement Financing Act.
I think it's consistent. So let's limit it to the CEO, and perhaps if extended to the CEC Finance. Senator Kavindu, you are still going on.
Yeah. Since the time when we were in Mombasa and the time when the accountant was sacked, that was past three months, and the CEO of the department would have made sure that those reports were ready for submission to the Attorney General's office. Auditor General's office for audit. Now, between the time that we were in Mombasa, Governor, and the time that this officer was sacked or was transferred in December, we want to hear from the chief officer or the CECM what took place there, because they knew that the auditor's office was coming to audit the entity. Thank you.
I think, Senator, the first issue that you had raised, I think before the sitting chair had asked, or rather interjected, I think you wanted to find out what is the current fate of those two accountants.
And he directed me not to go in that direction. That's why I've diverted.
All right,
yes,
okay.
Thank you.
But for avoidance of doubt, Chair, they're not currently with the hospital. They are currently have been set aside so that we can be able to find out what is the reason as to why these particular delays were there. And secondly, Chair, the question that has been asked is, between that time till now, what exactly happened? One of the things that we had agreed at the last Senate meeting that we had in my office, when you came over, the issue that was there was whether Coast General then was actually already being audited using the main executive audit reports, or reports that have already been passed through by this very honorable House. So the issue that was there was we were meant to ensure that for this financial year, 24-25 are the ones that they have to make sure that they're sent to the auditor. No one can have any reason to say that they were not aware. No one can have any reason to say that they did not know. No one can have any reason to give anything whatsoever. And on face value, Chair, unless you ask me otherwise, some things to me I feel are a blessing in disguise, because there could be a reason as to why these particular accountants decided not to be able to submit these documents in time. And it is my hope that the investigative issues that are going on right now, that are going to be independent of Coast General management, will be able to now come up. And any other and further administrative action and disciplinary measures that are going to be taken on those who are found responsible will be reported back to this honorable House as well.
Senator Mombasa.
Chair, I just want to give a brief background. In the last Senate, the there were issues with Coast General with the issue of submission of the accounts. And at that time, I think they were, through the Mombasa Health Act, they used to spend some of the money that they were collecting and accounting for it. The issue was whether they could spend that money outside the CRF. And I think they were advised at that time that they can do so if they have a fund specifically for the health services from Coast General. Now, looking at the documentation, I think, I don't know when the meeting in Mombasa took place, but it appears the central issue now is whether...
It was April.
It was April.
Yeah.
Or that was before the end of the financial year. Yes. So I think they were warned. They must have been warned that you have to submit this year before the deadline of September, I think.
Yes.
And the submission was made after September. Maybe for my part, I would just ask for the committee to be lenient on whatever action they intend to take, because already they had been warned, and they again failed, and the reasons that they have given are plausible, because if the accountants were not there, I know the CEO is a doctor by profession, he's a surgeon, and he may not be able to prepare those records, and in any event they have to be signed by somebody holding an accountant certificate. So I will plead maybe you be considerate and lenient and treat them as maybe first offenders. And
I also want to...
Just a moment, Governor. Senator Faki, you are a legal mind. And therefore, you know, you are almost becoming a witness. I would rather hear that from the CEO, because now, if I start deductive reasoning that maybe this happened, it will be very tricky. Through the governor, the CEO, what happened? Why was there no compliance with what we sat with you together with the governor and agreed in a meeting? Because I would perceive that if we talked in April, you were expecting audited reports to be submitted in September. Then as the CEO of the company, you will have put all internal mechanisms to make sure that there are checks and balances in meeting those timelines, even if being able to predict that maybe my accountants are delaying to the extent that they won't meet this timeline. So what really happened? Why were they not submitted by September?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to clarify issues. What I can say is that what His Excellency talked about, that these accounts were actually being submitted through the executive. So when the national laws changed, that now the accounts have to be submitted by the institution, we had to do 3 years accounts simultaneously, one after the other. 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, although we had already submitted 21, 22 through the executive. That was a huge task, an ardent task, something that is not too easy, but it's no excuse whatsoever. And I'm glad that we had that meeting. Just like what you are asking me, what happened? I ask that question to my accountants every single day. What happened? I call them in the morning, I call them at night. Where are these accounts? As you know, I'm not an accountant, but at least I have to make sure that what my responsibilities are given on time. Whatever I'm responsible for as an accounting officer, I have to submit on time. After having discussed with my accountants, both the current ones and both the ones that have left, honestly speaking, we have come to conclude that CGTRH is a very big hospital. The volume is very high. If there is any accounts that are to be submitted, everything needs to be digitalized. Here we have partial digitization. The finance or the reception of the receipts of money is digital, but the procurement is manual. So to do hand in hand those two is quite difficult. We need a total HMIS system, and His Excellency has informed us that the county is currently evaluating the same, not only for Coast General, but all the hospitals within Mombasa County are to be fully digitized, and we appreciate for that. That is the only I can say as a medic, that's the only pill that is going to solve this problem. Total digitization, nothing comes in without a record, a digital record, nothing goes out without a digital record. The second thing is human resource. ISPAC qualified or ISPAC registered is a professional body. The size of the institution begs for more ISPAC qualified accountants to come in. Just like we have departments, there is a department of accounts, but in every section there's only one accountant, and that person is not an ISPAC. So we are still requesting, and we have been requesting, that the human resource aspect of CGTRH be looked at, and His Excellency the Governor is favorably looking at it. The changes he has made have already made a difference. I have the first quarter accounts for the current financial year ready, the second quarter accounts and submitted to the CFO. Second quarter accounts are to be submitted by next week, and I think there is good progress in as far as accounts are concerned. I don't know whether I've answered the question to the adequacy at which it deserves. Thank you.
Senator Kavindo?
Yeah, I've just heard him say that the accountants that they have are not ISPAC qualified. So who signs those documents, and who even signed the documents that were sent, whether late, if they are not qualified?
Can I make a correction?
Who takes responsibility for that?
CEO?
We have ISPAC accountants, Chair. It's only that we don't have adequate numbers in them. Thank you. The accounts that were signed by Mr. Vincent Otieno. He is an ISPAC professional body certified accountant. Thank you.
Senator Tobiko?
I found you in a very serious discussion, so I think maybe I just take a moment to introduce myself. Paris Tobiko is my name. The governor was my colleague at one time. I come from Kajiado and a member of this committee.
Thank you. Senator, so I think that there is still a substantive question here. Actually, there are two. One, I think I want to get the guidance from the auditors on how do you regularize these accounts, because we are in another financial year, which then it means that you must be able to raise a certificate for this financial year, and then you have got a certificate that is pending that wasn't raised. If it was just an issue of adjustments, then it could have been easier. But that one, the auditor just think about it. How will you regularize this? Because that's a substantive issue. There's an issue of do you punish by penalties the officers who are liable or not, senators? I want to close on that so that you can move to other the other sectors that we also have issues in. Chair.
Well, I think we need to make progress. I would easily take the route that has been proposed by the people of Mombasa through their senator, that we give some leniency on this matter. But on the other hand, it is the bigger question of accountability in terms of financial accountability in the hospital. Session Chair, you know that the next time we'll be sitting to look at the audit report would be a time like this, 2027. I don't know whether with the current scenario, whether we will be in a position to sit and process the audit report. So practically it means that this...
Chair, maybe some clarity to that. Why would you not be able to sit to go through this report?
I'm alluding to the fact that...
election year.
2027 would be an election year. So this could be actually the last meeting we are doing regarding Coast General Hospital. So whichever way we take, we must give justice to the people of Mombasa. Or there is a question of leniency, and then there is a question of accountability. So we need to balance the two and see how do we do it. And given that the CEO has also pointed out the issue of system inadequacy in the hospital, that there is need for them to have automation, HMIs, so that when those reports are produced, they are accurate reports that can be audited and a true picture of the hospital provided to us. So me, I will be quick to go the approach proposed by Mombasa Senator, because he's speaking for the people of Mombasa. So I don't know what other members would say about that.
I think this is a very serious issue. I want to propose that committee, if you allow, we will canvass on this at our reporting stage. We will be able to communicate to you the action that has been made by the committee. I think that will be the best position to, because I think that the committee will have to consider all the presentations that have been put. Remember, the Senator Faki is a friend of the committee. So the committee will retreat, and I will let them converse on that issue of whether we effect those penalties on the responsible officers or not. And then it will be communicated to you in due course. And then on the issue of regularization of these particular late submitted financial reports, what will be your guidance, Auditor?
Thank you, Chair. I want to also let the committee know that during this year, we were able to audit 3 financial years for the referral hospital, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24. And 24, 25 was late. So when this happened, we removed 24, 25 from our audit plan for the year. So what will happen, it will be done as a year with the year 24, 5, 26. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Then I would wish that, Chair, we take note of what has just happened here, as we always take notes. And despite the fact that there will be obstacles and impediments to mobilizing members in the election hearing here, this I will take keen interest on as your Vice Chair. I know you are vying for governor, you might have more responsibility for election at that time, but we'll make sure that we convene. The committee will go on. So there is no, let it be on record that you're not told that this is the last meeting you're being called over these particular issues, because we'll make sure that we canvass that certificate that's going to be raised by the Auditor General. So sometimes next year we'll look into it. But with regard to that particular misnomer of not submitting, it will be communicated to you by the clerk what the committee will have made a decision about that. Is that a fair place to be, members? So you can proceed.
Chair, okay. May I make one comment on that? If and this is for the avoidance of doubt. I have a team that is here. And I expect that when I move a certain direction, my team moves in that direction. And I expect when I move at a certain speed, my team will move at the speed at which we're moving. Let it not be doubted at all that as much as I will leave it at the wisdom of the Senate, it does not mean that the county government of Mombasa will not take appropriate action on those people. More so because you can imagine we have spent an hour, and how many man-hours each and every one of us here deliberating on an issue that someone did not get done. So let it as much as anything else, and as much as I will respect the decision of the Senate, but I will also appreciate that everyone else will respect the decision of the county government. We will not allow a situation where people have been given responsibilities and those responsibilities are not being met. You can be able to slide once, you can be able to fall once, you can be able to fall twice. But then when your actions become repetitive, it becomes your behavior. So I just thought I'd make it very, very clear. I'm under oath. I'm at the Senate. For those who do not take necessary actions on what they're meant to do, the county government of Mombasa will take action on them. Just thought I'd put that very, very clear.
Thank you, Governor. That is cooperative, and we do take this. We do share the same sentiment. But let me just make it very clear also that the CEC Finance, the CEO of the hospital,
Yes.
we have, and then Chief Officer Health, we have got a serious communication to do to you on this particular matter, especially because, as Governor has indicated, it has been a persistent issue. That's why I say that we need to retreat and then canvass and consider all the tenets of this since when we started dealing with this issue of non-submission or late submission of documents. So I'll let that rest at that. Clerk will communicate to you our decision. Wednesday, you have something?
Yes, Chair. I wanted to share with the committee that whenever I come to this particular meeting, and particularly because we are looking at the hospitals, the reports of the control of budget, they also check on the FIF performance at the counties. And the year 24-25, we noted that most of the counties that have automated the hospitals, they perform so well when it comes to collection under FIF. For example, Kilifi, their target for 24-25 was 400 million. But because of the automation, they managed to collect 622 million. So I want to agree with the governor here that the issue of automation is key, and it would be very important if the county take it serious, because their target for 24-25 was 1.25 billion, but they only managed to collect 900 million. So if they put more effort on automation of those hospitals, that can also help with this particular issue. That is the point I wanted to bring across.
Okay. That's a very productive input, right? So, Governor, I hope you take note. And
Chair, actually, we advertise, we are about to award. Right now, the only thing that is remaining is the awarding part. The digitalization concept will, and I'm glad actually that this conversation is being made here. Heads of hospitals are here. It is actually in our manifesto. We need to make sure that customer satisfaction is going to be recorded well. So when we are talking about rolling out of the digitization, it will start from cost general, go to the level 4s. After the level 4s, go to the lower facilities until each and every one of our facility has a digitization component that will not just talk about finances, but also digitizing health systems, health records, and dispensing of medicine. We are even talking about buying medicine at one go using that particular system.
the Senator of Mombasa has something.
Chair, last year I made a tour of all the facilities in Mombasa, almost all of them. And this digitization, I was told it was taking place. And it will be up and running within the financial year. Now we are, 1 year later, we are still talking about it starting.
I give a clarification, Chair. The digitization that my able senator is referring to is the one that had been put in by DHA. And for that one, it was very, very specific. As a matter of fact, it is even better for us to have our own that will then link up to the one for DHA, so that in the event we submit that there are 300 patients that we've met on a certain day, on our end, we know that there are 300 patients. If it is picked by SHA that there are less than that 300 patients, we have backup that no, we actually have this. So the digitization that was referred to then is actually the one. It is still there, like many other facilities have, but it is not what it is, and it does not include the component of the financial aspect of the rest.
That's fine. Senator, I wanted to appeal to you that given that we are considering water, hospitals, and municipalities together, and cognizant to the fact that Mombasa is a city and they don't have municipalities, and given the pressure of time that we have, given that Coast General has taken a lot of time to be able to deal with it, I wanted to appeal that the other hospitals, we give them another appointment where we could have ordinarily given them an appointment for municipalities. Then we instead look at Mombasa Water Supply and Sanitation Company, because there were some serious and substantive issues that wanted us to look into, so that the other hospitals will then look at them just by themselves without the Coast General Hospital, and we'll give them a different date for that. Is that fair to propose? Vice Chair, do you?
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Members, are you okay with that? So we just focus on the water for now, then we give them a break, and then we will come back to the others.
Sure, I will be making a request.
Yes.
You will agree with us that every time that we have to come to the Senate, you can imagine I have a whole team that needs to be able to appear. I don't mind being able to appear in person as many times as I'm called to. But I will be making a humble plea and request for the level 4. This is the first time they're actually doing this. As a matter of fact, I had wanted initially to reach out directly to the auditors as well, because there was a concern that there was, if you look at the issues that are there, it is more of reconciliation. We did not see this document, we did not see this document. Everything which has actually been able to be provided. One of the issues that the hospitals have also raised was that the management letter, and by the time doing the management response, the audit report draft was already out. And I don't blame the auditors, because also the time that they needed. I think the law talks about 7 days between the time in which you're meant to do the management letter and for us to have a management response. I will request, in the wisdom of this particular Senate, because majority of the issues that are there are issues to do with this document is not there and this has not tallied. It is really nothing material. If it is okay for the Senate to go through the written responses. And I say this because you can imagine in terms of resources that we have to be able to make sure that each and every one of these good people, maybe good and bad people who have to travel all the way to Nairobi and hospitals being left unattended to as well. I leave it to your wisdom. It is only a request that whether...
That's fair enough.
Thank you very much.
I think, Governor, that cannot be understated, because we also are empathetic to the fact that that resource could be used to be taken somewhere. And the context with which I was sharing this was the fact that we will sit down with our clerks and also our auditors.
Thank you very much.
And then be able to look at what are the substantive issues that need to be responded to the extent that those might be 1 or 2 hospitals. Then we'll be able to come back to you and with a substantive request that these particular officers show up to help us answer these particular queries.
Thank you.
But we will be as lenient as possible to be able to look at the written responses and communicate back to what would be feasible.
Thank you. Chair, you just need to also clarify in the letter.
The Secretary Chair,
maybe the auditors, you need to clarify to this committee whether, because I think last time the audited reports for Mombasa City was not available. are you able to, have you published the audited report for Mombasa City? So
Chair,
that will be covered together with any other issues, substantive issues that we may pick from the hospitals.
Chair, we don't have a municipal.
No, but you have the city.
Yes.
Yes, but the city is audited, and I think it goes through the public accounts.
You see, the city chair is equivalent to the county executive. Yes, sometimes substantively, sometimes PAC end up dealing with the issues of the county
I
executive.
think I'm actually appearing before PAC next week.
Yeah, you know, let me just help you, Governor. Don't worry. This one will help you out. You know, just like Nairobi, we always have Nairobi as an entire city. And then if you go somewhere like Eldoret, you've got Eldoret, there is Eldoret town, which is a city, but then there is municipalities outside it. Those municipalities that we look at.
Yes.
But now you, as Mombasa, it will be a duality of audit if we converse on it as well, because you have to appear before PAC.
Yes.
So because as a city now you appear before PAC, therefore there is no problem there at all. That's why I was saying that we could take advantage of the fact that we don't have the municipalities that we are considering at this moment to invite the team back, but we will be considerate on the issue of resources that are the county will be facing, and that will converse among ourselves as the Senate.
Thank
so
you.
don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Let's go to Mombasa water supply.
I wanted to just clarify on one thing.
Sure.
This is a house of records, and there's an official document written to me, which includes a hospital that is not ours. Is it wise for us to write back and say that it is not ours, or do we just allow the Secretariat to write back and say that it is excluding this particular hospital?
I think it would be in order to just write back and then we put it on file that that's a national hospital. I saw the misnomer as well. It's a national hospital, so that
it's actually not a national hospital, Chair, per se.
Yeah.
It's categorized as a level 4. I'm aware, though, recent information. This is through a letter that I saw a day ago. The national government is in the process currently. They want to build this to a level 6.
Yeah.
The hospital that is there.
I mean, this has happened to us in Bungoma, even when we're looking at Siaya, Jaramogi as well. Those ongoing conversations at national level are converting them to national hospitals. So just write back and then we'll consider it accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then let's proceed to just look at Mombasa Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited for the financial year 24-25. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Mombasa Water and Sanitation, Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited. The opinion for that particular year is a qualified opinion, and I stand guided, Chair, on whether I go through issue by issue or we pick substantive.
I think just the same approach we've been doing.
Okay.
Go through the substantive issues. Substantive issues includes issues which are not addressed from your end, and the issues which are have high fiduciary risk. Those are the ones you need to look to address.
Thank you, Chair.
So you can tell us which are the issues, and then the members will make a decision on how to proceed.
Okay. So the first issue that I consider substantive is long outstanding trade and other receivables. That is query number 2.
Chair. My apologies, Auditor. I just wanted to get clarity on one thing, Chair. There's some issues, Chair, that have been there all the other previous years, and some of them are very, very historic in nature. One of them is the one that he's referring to, the first one, and the other one is long outstanding trade and trade balances. These are very, very, there have been issues that have been there for quite a while. should we go in depth with them as well, or do we? Up to your wisdom, Chair.
I think we'll look at them because they also affect other issues.
Okay.
For example, the issue of long outstanding receivables have an effect on the material uncertainty related to going concern, which to us we consider very important. So I think we can pick that issue of long outstanding trade and other receivables. Proceed, Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The other issue is long outstanding unsupported trade and other payables. The third issue, Chair, is a material uncertainty related to going concern. And there are some unresolved prior year matters which are weighty, Chair, one of which is direct discharge of raw sewer to the Indian Ocean. Then number 2, stalled project at Kipevu Water Waste Treatment Plant. And the third issue is abandoned and approved contract extension period on the rehabilitation and extension of sewer networks, West Mainland and Island.
That one can be considered together with that prior year matters.
Yes.
The one of discharge to the sea.
Yes, Chair. The 3 of them. Then the other issue, Chair, is excessive non-revenue water. That is all.
So some of those issues are interrelated. So, honourable members, when we are debating, to manage time, we can try and see how we can discuss so that we have a reflection on the other issues. For example, when you talk about trade and other receivables, and you are talking about going concern, those can go together. Yeah. So, Auditor will allow you to, for managing time, I will allow you to read 2 queries. The query on trade and other receivables, concurrently with the query on unsupported trade and other payables. And then the Governor will respond to the 2, and then I will open the floor for the members.
Thank you, Chair. Long outstanding trade and other receivables. The statement of financial position and note 16 to the financial statement reflect trade and other receivable balance of 501,954,618. The net receivable balance increased from 433,140,949 to 501,954,618 by 68,813,669, or 16%. Management has not provided evidence of effort or strategies initiated to collect the overdue debts. Further, the management did not disclose aging analysis of provision for bad and doubtful debts. In the circumstances, the accuracy and valuation of trade and other receivables of 501,954,618 could not be confirmed. Long outstanding and unsupported trade and other payables. The statement of financial position and note 25 to the financial statement reflect trade and other payables balance of 2,326,736,526. Included in the balance is 2,083,447,586 relating to trade payables, out of which 1,980,944,754 was outstanding for a duration of more than 120 days. Further, the balance was not supported by a schedule. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of trade and other payables balance of 2,326,736,526 could not be confirmed.
Very well. You can now respond to the 2 queries, one after the other.
Chair, and this is why I had wanted your guidance on this. Some of these outstanding trade debts are so historic to the extent that when some of us were in high school is when these debts were accruing. As we speak right now, Chair, following WASREB regulations, there is a new board that is going to be put into place. And I would strongly hope that the new board considers that some of these long outstanding should not be here, and the board actually does have the mandate. They can be able to say for debts that are as old as, if a debt is as old as me, that is a very old debt, Chair. The white hair did not come by just like that. And I think as much as, if you look at and I think the auditors can be able to attest to this as well, if you look at in terms of collections, as much as they will continuously try, but eventually, we all have to be in agreement that some of these debts, a decision has to be made. Otherwise, 10 governors will come after me, and they'll be going to the same documents, reading that there is actually arrears going back to years on years. Mind you, Chair, some of these arrears are before the advent of devolution. And that goes hand in hand with the other part of the long outstanding and unsupported trade and other payables. Before Mombasa Water, there was, National Water Corporation. Some of these debts as well are debts that have to be paid to Treasury, actually, because they were considered that these amounts were meant to be paid by Treasury from when it was National Water and so forth. Not to, maybe to give a hint, and not to necessarily guide the direction in which the Senate committee needs to take, but there have been many instances where government has seen the wisdom in actually waiving off some of these debts for other corporations. It will not be new if the Senate considers in one of their reports, because you will see this in all water companies, by the way. I don't think there's any water company in Kenya today that will not have this kind of issues. Maybe you might want to consider, Chair, for the sake of those who will come after us. There's someone who will sit in your seat. There's someone who will come where I'm seated, hopefully, in the next 7 years. And we want also them to have life a bit easy, not to go for things that are so historic in nature, like the debts which are due, Chair, to Coast Water. Some of these debts are so old. It might be wise for national government to consider, actually. Another thing that I also want to state here, all reports from the World Bank report, from any other report that is there, indicate that Coast Water eventually should be owned by the coastal water companies. Actually, Coast Water has no reason to be owned by National. So we also ask for the assistance of the Senate on this particular matter, Chair.
Yes, I hear you, Governor. But for the purpose of the record, if I look at the query on long outstanding trade and other payable, it talks about both current debts and the historic debts. Because there is an increase of, is it 68 million from last year? which means the 68 million is the current debts. So I would like us to maybe focus around there. So that is one. Number two, I think this Senate committee has made recommendations on this matter of long outstanding payables, where we recommended that IGRTC engages COG and other intergovernmental agencies to resolve this issue of coast water and other regional bodies. So this is a matter that really should be one of the agendas of IBEC, so that the county governments can agree with the national government on how such can be resolved. We have made recommendations to IGRTC to take up this matter and COG, so that because the Auditor General will not stop raising these queries until they are addressed. And for your information, this committee is also dealing with the issue of pension, where this pension was deducted from people and the money was never remitted. And that goes all the way to the period before devolution. And we are almost at the end of this process. There was a task force that was set up to do that, and it has made a recommendation on what needs to be done, particularly for Nairobi and Mombasa counties. So we are doing something at our level, but these things will not disappear from the books until some fundamental steps are taken in IBEC itself, where Senate is not represented, to try and address these issues.
I know that I have initiated a full council on matters of health by virtue of my other position. And this meeting will be on Thursday. If I could get that communication, I don't mind sharing it. Maybe my team will liaise and get that communication or that recommendation, so we can at least kickstart this process prior to the next IBEC. We've not had any IBEC this year yet. Prior to the next IBEC, and we can have this conversation in place. It'll be very, very helpful, and I want to thank the committee for actually having done that.
Yeah, so that we don't appear to be systematic, I will request that we finalize on the issue of trade and other payables, and then now we can proceed to trade and other receivables. Then we can proceed to the next query, which somehow it's just a repetition of what was there last year, and this has to be a task that should be taken over, not just by Mombasa County, but by COG and IGRTC, to deal with the issue of debts owed to regional water bodies.
Chairman.
Yes.
I think the response of the governor was actually responding to the trade and other payables from the query that was raised by the auditor. I think in a long whatever, that's what he was trying to explain, that this will be a recurring thing for if we don't make a decision. So I think it is for us to decide how to go, because he has responded. Maybe the auditor can then tell us if he's satisfied with that response, or if there was something specific that the governor would have done at this moment.
Okay, there are two parts to it. There is the issue of historic receivables, which now can be handled at the level of IBEC. And then there is the issue of what about the current debts. The 68 million that was incurred between last year and now. I think maybe there is where, Governor, you need to focus on. And then when we come to payables, we can refer back to the decision that this committee made, that IGRTC should take up this matter with the regional water bodies and with the IBEC to resolve and COG to resolve this problem. So maybe after giving Senator Faki a chance, Governor, maybe you can explain to us about the 68 million that has not been collected.
That is not it, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, I wanted to echo your sentiments on the issue of the IGTRC. And even the assets that were supposed to go to the counties have not been transferred. And I believe the situation at Mombasa Water could be more acute because even the land on which they are sitting is not their land. And recently there was a fire, and I believe they will have challenges in maybe reconstructing or repairing because the land is not owned by the Mombasa Water and Sanitation Company. Number two, Chair, the other concern that we have, because the 68 million that is receivable, maybe it could be because of the fact that customers are not able to pay for services that are not given. Because somebody could be receiving bills, but actually he's not getting any water. And that could be the major reason why maybe payments are not, you are billing, but nobody is getting any service, and therefore you cannot pay for what you don't receive. Thank you.
Chair, maybe I clarify. There is an IGTRC report that was sent to the summit. And amongst the issues and the things that were actually devolved, the only thing now remaining is the process of transferring, considering that the institute previously known as National Water has ceased to exist. The property that the Honourable Senator is referring to, it is true, prior to the fire, we didn't even have that document. But as it stands right now, we actually have a gazetted document that has now given us full ownership. The only thing that is remaining is the transfer of the title deeds, which is something that is currently in process. And by the way, it is not just that property alone, it is quite a number of properties. Two, the Senator is pinpoint accurate on the issue of availability of water. Chair, Mombasa currently depends on water sources from out of Mombasa. We are literally at the mercy of an institute called Coast Water. A classic example, if I pay Coast Water and I pay my share of the power bill, but because that particular borehole is me and another county, and if another county has not paid, Kenya Power goes and disconnects. So if Kenya Power disconnects, the good and the bad all get messed up. From the time I have been governor till now, I think I have been forced to intervene probably 4 or 5 times. Two, Chair, national government right now are the ones who own Coast Water. They're the ones who also own the pipes that run between where the boreholes are to where Mombasa's border is. Now, they don't have the finance to be able to fix those lines because they are currently concentrating on finalizing Mzima, and they're concentrating Mzima 2, and I think they're concentrating on Mache Dam. So by virtue of doing that, they have not given enough money for doing those repairs on those lines. One of the things that we have done as a county government is executive has already sent conditional grants to Moasco, and works have already started on those pipes. And our agreement with Coast Water is that we fix the pipes and then we do an offset kind of an agreement. Even that in itself took quite a while. We had already transferred the money. By the time they started working on this, it was quite a bit of time. Thirdly, I'm also not happy with the process of the digitization. where we want to make sure that so that we don't have problems of what the senator was referring to, where someone gets billed for a service that is not there. Once we have digitization to work full force, that will be an element that will not be there. Two, it will greatly reduce the amount of non-revenued water that is there. Another thing, Chair, of course, this is not any legal excuse, or it is not a legal justification. I come from a county where there has always been that tendency that it is norm. It is normal for someone to just take the pipe of Moasco and just bypass everything. It is normal for us to be able to do this. It is normal for us. And my team sometimes tells me that politically it is suicidal. But I say that it is better to be suicidal for a few and you give water to many. We have done a number of arrests on this. And I was actually hoping that on the issue of non-revenued water, it would have been better for us to be able, and we can give this, the number of arrests we have been forced to do when it comes to non-revenued water. We've set a special team that is doing nothing else except handling the issues of non-revenued water. Is it a challenge? Yes, it is. Will we overcome? I believe so. We have new GMs as well in place. And we are hoping that we can be able to make sure that this gets sorted out.
Okay, we are now talking about many things. As I said, these queries are interrelated. Like this trade and other receivables, you can see the link it has with excessive non-revenue water, according to Senator Faki. But the auditor, I would like you to clarify on the issue of 68.8 million, which is the current debt. Is it a debt that's generated between the last report and the current report? Just clarify to the members. And then, Governor, you can tell us what the challenges in recovering this money from those people who are supposed to pay.
Chair, that is very correct. The 68 million is the difference between debt levels during the last financial year and the one that relates to 2024-25 is the difference. So I can see management has indicated various strategies, but we need to see concrete measures that have been put by management to ensure that these debts are recovered. That is one, Chair. There are a number of, if you look at the schedule of receivables, long outstanding receivables, there are quite a number here, one of which also relates to Madison Insurance, 41 million, Smart People Africa, 10 million, Gedi Boss General Trading, 48 million, Tima Construction, 25 million, Wambeko Enterprises, 81 million, Wandi Communications Limited, 11 million, Batch Associates Limited, 60 million, Adequate Machines Construction Limited, 28 million.
So what you mean is that the 68 million are not largely individual consumers. They are actually corporates.
Exactly. So maybe in
next Governor, it's easy to recover.
He needs to clarify on that. I don't know whether I combine with something I have on payables, Chair.
Chair, maybe he could read those names again. Could I have a look at those? Chair, is it okay if I could just go through
yes,
this?
Yes, we are very
Can
keen
someone
about
just take me through?
Institutional
they are payables, Chairman.
Receivables.
They are payables. Yeah,
those are payables.
Is it payables or receivables? That's why I'm wondering. We don't have a client that we have to receive.
They are payables, Chairman.
Those are payables.
Payables. So what we...
The reason why I was saying that, Chair, is because these particular payables Maybe let me just explain, Chair, because again, like you said, everything is intertwined. One of the things that I have given direction on, the executive of the county government of Mombasa has currently enjoyed a very, very good, fruitful relationship with financial institutions, which has helped us. Today we are probably amongst the counties that are able to pay salaries and meet their obligations within the stipulated time. Two, the county government of Mombasa currently provides medical insurance to all its employees. And the same cover that covers the governor of Mombasa is the cover that covers the sweeper of Mombasa, the same medical cover. What I have proposed to do as a means of being able to shield the likes of Coast General and Moasco is executive finance have been given instructions to work with the finance of Moasco and Coast General so that first of all we can be able to ensure we intertwine this so that economies of scale makes life easy for Moasco as well. Chair, the issues that have been raised here, these are project accounts. That's why I was asking. You know, the auditor was raising these names of these companies. These are actually project accounts. We can't just wake up and just pay. The likes of AR is understandable. What am I doing? I'm putting them all under our health insurance cover. But some of these, especially these big ones, are actually project accounts. These are those World Bank projects that we have. As much as invoices are raised to us, but we can also not be able to pay, even if we have the money in the account, until they meet certain criteria. So it does not necessarily mean that we actually are running at a loss on this. Just thought I'd clarify on that, Chair.
What about the receivables?
The receivables, if you realize, Chair, it is actually many of them are historic. Many of them are not current per se. Many of them are actually historic by nature. One of the things that I have also, and the team from health is not here, but there's also a memo that has gone out, and the memo now applies both to water and to the health. The hospitals have to pay water bills and sewer services to Moasco, the same way Moasco has to make sure that they're going to ensure they have to provide water and sewer to those particular facilities. If we do that, then one is going to complement each other very well, because then Moasco is going to immediately have about 51 new clients who are going to be good paymasters with the FIF. They should be able to pay for sewer and water. And that in itself as well will also ensure that all our facilities do get water as well. That is one of those strategies that we are trying to ensure that we put into place. But majority of these receivables that are being talked about here, Chair, are very, very old. And usually we have some of our large clients include the Kenya Airport Authority, include Kenya Ports Authority, include the Kenya Cooperative Creameries. So we have a good relation with them where they're actually decent paymasters. So it is not something that they take forever for them to be able to pay. And again, I've also given instructions, as much as my team tells me that politically it is wrong, but I tell them again, we all have a job to be able to do. We have to first of all move on to digitization, and failure for that, if someone doesn't pay, you have to disconnect.
Okay. You see, I don't know, CEC Finance, is he?
He's here.
Oh, my friend is there. You see now, some of these things are bookkeeping issues, accounting issues. For example, if we have receivables which have taken long time to be recovered, then accounting process provides for a write-off. So the company and the acting CEO, you are here, there are various approaches you can use. One, you can institute the process to write off as provided for in the PFM. so that you write off debts which are not recoverable. Because if you don't do that, it will continue appearing in your books, and the auditor will flag them as long outstanding receivable. So some of these actions can be done accounting wise by just following the law and declaring some of those debts are bad debts or doubtful debts. Because this, if you look at this matter, also affects the other query, the other query on material uncertainty, which says that there is a negative working capital of 1.9 billion. A negative working capital means the liabilities, current liabilities are more than current assets. So if the receivables are very high, it means the current, it will affect the negative working capital. So some of these things can be dealt in an accounting manner. So CEC, basically, this is your job.
Actually, Chair, I had started by stating so that we can be able to ensure that it is an institution, not an individual, making such a decision as to wipe off any historic debt. My proposal had been that once we have the new board in place, because we went with the WASRIB regulations, and once we have the new board that is going to be in place, then the board makes a decision so that it does not become an individual making a decision, but rather an institution that makes that particular decision.
Yeah, so long as it's done within the PFM.
Yes.
So actually your board can sit down
and make the necessary recommendation.
First of all, have a bad and doubtful debt policy, and then go through the process provided for in PFM on how to write off debts, so that they will not appear in your books again, and the auditor will not flag them as long outstanding trade receivables. So, because that again will come and affect your going concern status. Am I saying the right thing, auditor?
You are correct, Chair.
Yeah, so Madam CEO, through your governor, what are you doing about this? Because this is purely an administrative issue.
Thank you, Chair. As His Excellency has reiterated, we will be working closely with the board to be able to ensure that these queries do not rise, and we try to write off most of these old outstanding payments. Thank you.
Yeah, because you know any investor looking at your books, and then he sees that you have a net working capital or negative working capital of 2 billion, then that may not be very attractive to anyone who wants to invest in your company. Senator Afaki?
Chair, I've been looking at the responses and the documents that have been supplied, and I see there is a contradiction. I have seen in the bundle of documents that have been supplied, there is a document marked EMO 21.
Yes.
It's a contract for consulting, design review, safeguards, documents, construction, supervision of works, contract, technical support, blah, blah, blah. Now, in one of the, one of the aims of this contract was to increase the supply of water to Mombasa, so that the county now receives about 100,000 cubic meters of water. And that, according to this document, I think it's on page 23, the completion time was on 31st of December 2025. Now, according to the governor, he attributes the lack of water in Mombasa to low supplies from Coast Water Services Board. Yet they had invested a sum of about 700 million to boost that supply. So these documents, Chair, and also the responses from the governor are not adding up. Yeah? Because how do you spend 700 million and yet you know the water coming in is only 30,000 cubic meters, yet your plan is to increase it to 100,000 cubic meters?
Chair, maybe I can be able to clarify.
Yes, specifically on that issue.
Specifically on that issue, the demand for Mombasa exceeds 200,000 cubic meters per day of water. The amount of water that we get varies between 30,000 cubic meter to around 40,000 cubic meters. That is what enters into Mombasa's piping system. This particular contract that the Senator is referring to was actually a contract that had been done with the WDSP. When I started by saying that we cannot be continuously at the mercy of others. Amongst this investment that was actually done, that we are also going to be part and parcel of paying for, those pipings are not all are out. Some of them are internal. So have we been able to improve on our internal water circulation? Yes, but without water, it becomes an impossibility. Today, as we speak, Mombasa Water has had to do communication to the public because there is a water bust. Where is the place that? In upstream Zima, there's water gushing out. And again, for us to be able to go there, we can't. My initial plan, and I had requested this, is that allow me to fix that at my own cost. And then we offset. Coast Water refused. Coast Water insisted that no, pay us. We will get it done for you. So now even that, as we speak today, there's already another line totally bust in that area. And I'm hoping that we'll now have to reinvest again our own money. Because failure for that, the people of Mombasa do not get water. The investment, mind you, Chair, that has been put in with the WDSP was to go hand in hand with Mwache. Maybe I can repeat this for the interest of the senators, so that the senators can also be able to assist us on this matter. Mwache was meant to bring into Mombasa an average of about 170,000 cubic meters on a day. So when the WDSP program was actually signed, it was meant to improve internal piping so that by the time Mwache is ready, but now the problem is we have moved faster than the Mwache Dam. So by virtue of moving faster than the Mwache Dam is where he's actually raising that concern that why did you invest in this particular, but the WDSP program was, the whole thing was let the County of Mombasa invest in the internal, then the external is going to be done by Coast Water. But as we speak right now, we have to continue, even if they move at lightning pace, I do not see Mwache being finished by 2020. He comes from Mwache, the able senator of Kwale. He is aware of whatever issues that are currently ongoing there. There were issues, I think, regarding PUPs that are yet to be settled as well. So the investment was actually meant for that. I hope I've been able to just clarify on that particular matter.
So, honorable members, for any other comment before I move to the next query? The query on material uncertainty is related to what we have been discussing, but maybe just to summarize for the purpose of the committee and the governor is that the net working capital is negative and is 1.9 billion. Governor, you provided various strategies of reducing this. Maybe you can explain to the committee how these strategies are going to work to reduce this figure to less than zero.
Actually, let me just re-clarify on this. The issues of net working capital being negative will actually, by the time we come to the next one, will be higher. Let me clarify, because our intent is to ensure that those old historic receivables that we know are not going to be able to come through are going to be written off. When you write off on one part, it will automatically mean that the other part is going to increase. It's the auditors, I think, will agree with me on that. The only way that we can be able to reduce this is either the executive looks for 1.9 billion shillings, actually more than that 1.9, because if we're going to reduce the other old receivables of 500 million, and we ask that the board waives that 500 million because these are debts from when I was in high school. Some of these institutions have closed down. Directors of those companies are no longer there. Our only hope is to see whether, at all, that any of them are going to be able to pay is going to be very, very slim by nature. So this 1.9 stands a threat of rising to 2.4. And if it rises to 2.4, the only way out is for national government to say these historic debts are also going to be waived. And as they waive this, we hope that they will also go the direction of the World Bank strategy, where as we do the WDSP program, Coast Water is also shareholding for Coast Water now goes to the relevant county governments. So I thought I'd give this. I know I'll come back here. They will tell me that I said I will reduce it. The only way it will reduce is if national government agrees on these historic debts to go down, Chair. There is no other way.
Senator Mbugua?
And by the way, Chair, I thought you should also be aware what is currently happening is one of the reasons why we have an uphill task as well, is because when they come and they tell you that you have to pay, we have an arrangement, even with the new tariffs that are there. With the new tariffs that are there, the arrangement is that whatever it is that we are paying, I'm paying current, part of it historic. So I'm actually paying for the mishaps and the mistakes of our great-great-grandparents.
You know that on that one, Governor, I think I always pass the blame to COG because what is happening, because this committee has dealt with that matter, that the national government comes to commission to implement a water project through these regional bodies, and then they don't involve the county government. And then at the last minute, when they now commission the plant, they push it to county government to take it and to take with the debts. That is the point at which COG should come in and say that if it is a project of county government, you must be involved right from the start to the end, because we are seeing that in many counties. So it's another program which you need to address at your level of COG and IPEC, Let's have Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, this point of material uncertainty summarizes the bad state the company is in. We've been informed that WASLEB has already raised concerns on the management of this company and specifically on the acting CEO because the management is everything. What is the challenge in having a substantive CEO so that you can be able to address the issues of this company?
Chair, we did advertise. There was actually 2 advisories that had come in. The first advisory that came in from the head of public service indicated that the public service board is the only entity that is allowed to be able to hire. Then 2, there was another advisory that came in from WASREP. The one for the public service board was also, it also came with a letter from the head of public service, and there was actually a court ruling that any institute within the county cannot be able to hire unless they get delegated authority from the Mombasa County Public Service Board, and for that matter, any other county wishes to do that, it has to come from its relevant public service board. When we went ahead and advertised for the position of the MD and the directors, not the directors, but the general managers, someone went and took us to court. And when we were taken to court, one of the teams that were actually meant to be part and parcel was WASREP as well. I did a meeting between myself, PS, the CEO of WASREP, the CS, and the whole team from the Ministry of Water. And we eventually agreed that maybe that advisory was for anything else other than water. Because WASREP was saying that they have their own regulations, and in their regulations it is the water company board that is meant to hire. Now we already have a court ruling actually stopping us from employing. And you know, some of these court rulings, the way they are, the court has now insisted that we cannot go ahead and recruit, and we're now waiting. So since we signed a consent with WASREP, we are hoping, I was actually hoping that this should have been done from October last year, Chair. Was it October? It was October last year. But the courts have just, so we advertised for the other GM positions, but for the CEO, we were unable to advertise because there's a court ruling stopping us from doing so until the court has settled the matter. So now we are stuck. I cannot be able to, even the new board, which we have even gone ahead and now said that this board will go hand in hand with how WASREP recommended the board should be put into place. I dissolved the whole board, and in the process of dissolving that whole board so that we can go hand in hand with what WASREP has recommended. Once that court, I'm informed now by my county attorney that we are hoping that they said, when is the judgment? It's going to be by next month. If that goes well, I hope that they will agree and allow us to be able to employ. And once that happens, we will allow the new board that has been put into place as per WASREP recommendations and guidelines will be able to now put in place the new CEO and also the GMs that are missing in place. I also wish to be able to have a substantive team that can be able to take bold decisions.
I think, Governor, it looks like that should be the most important thing to do because the issues are many. They require competent minds to have them resolved. So I also wanted you to comment on the issue of excessive non-revenue water, which also affects the material uncertainty, because 62% means 62% of the revenues, according to the clerk here, is coming to 1.2 billion shillings in terms of water that is not accounted for.
I don't know where they got that figure from.
How did you calculate this?
It's in the report.
Is in the report. Is in the audit report.
Even the audit report itself, Chair, I do not know how they came up with that figure.
So, auditor, maybe you can give
but
an
you see, maybe I just give an overview. You see, when you have non-revenued water of 62%, first of all, it depends on what is the amount of money, what is the amount of water or amount that we pay to cost water. As much as the figures might be as high as one of the actions that are also going to be taken, I'm hoping with the new management that is going to be there, will be on ensuring that every single one of these departments will be working on targets. And if the targets are meant to ensure that we don't have non-revenued water by this percentage, within every quarter, what it is that they're meant to be doing, that is one of the strategies that we are putting into place. But without having a proper management team in place, Chair, it's just disastrous. And I have tried to talk to WASREB, we have tried to reach out to the lawyers, and unfortunately the person who ended up taking us to court is not even WASREB, but they took us to court based on WASREB laws, and the person who has taken us to court is an unknown person. You know, one of those things where you don't even know who has taken you to court. So exactly that. Yes, as an individual, yes, but to put pinpoint that it is you who has actually taken me to court, and it's a bit disturbing when now you have a situation where now the court continuously pushes this thing, Chair. It's very, very frustrating. We have done whatever needs to be done. We have abided by the wishes of what WASREB have requested from us. We have said that yes, we are going to change the management based on those particular guidelines. We have said yes, we are going to change the board based on those particular guidelines. But someone has just decided to take us to court. But it's not even that, Chair, because there's other issues that you will be raising on the issues of SIWA, which is even an even sadder state of what it is that we have been able to try and do and where we are right now.
You can see the non-revenue water is shooting up. Last year it was 57, now it's 62. So if these problems are not resolved, it means it will continue going up.
That is very true, Chair.
Yeah. So any comment from members or any further questions from members before I move to unresolved prior year matters? Senator Faki?
Chair, I have two issues. Number one, recently, and I think it was through legislation by the county government, they imposed a charge of 500 shillings for refuse collection on the water bills of the residents of Mombasa. Now that presents two problems. Number one, this service is not being offered by the county. Most of the people are dealing with their garbage on their own. Number two, according to the WASREB Act, you cannot impose any charge on the tariffs outside what is approved by the WASREB. That is the law. You cannot put any charge.
Chair, maybe I clarify on that.
I have not finished.
Oh, sorry.
Finish. So that presents two issues. Number one is that this is an illegal charge. Although maybe passed by the assembly and now it's a law, but it cannot be put on the water bills, because water bills are supposed to stand alone and approved by
They're supposed to be based on the tariff.
Yes, based on the tariff. Number two, it subjects the resident to discrimination, because if I don't have a water account, it means I cannot be charged. And this is an emerging issue we need to address. The other issue is to do with sewage. Mombasa has a problem of sewage at the moment. And the MOWASCO is not able to deal with the issue wholesomely. However, the county still approves and issues occupation permits for buildings that do not comply with what we call their own construction. For instance, if a developer says, I will dispose my sewage through a biodigester, yeah? The county doesn't confirm whether there exists a biodigester or not before you issue an occupation permit. So in the end, they end up maybe charging people who are connecting, they are doing what they call illegal sewer connections, but at the same time, those who are supposed to be held responsible, the developers, are left off the hook. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Governor, you cannot respond to that.
Chair, I want to assure my able senator I would never do anything without having followed the law. One, this particular charge is in the on the Waste Act, the Mombasa Waste Act. Two, public participation was done. It was announced, it was done, and we actually went round the whole of Mombasa, whereby the residents of Mombasa were asked this particular question. So whether we did what needs to be done is not the issue here. Three, we have concurrence from the same WASREP. Four, Mombasa is not the first county to do it. This is being done currently by, is it called Ruiru or the one in Nairobi? In fact, even when we were discussing this, they raised this particular matter. It is not the first one. I think, there are many counties, by the way, that are already doing it. Kisumu is doing it. Nyeri is doing it. Whether we followed the law or not, the law was actually followed. Four, he has raised the issue as to whether we are going to be doing this, we're discriminating. Previously, Chair, we have to be able to do what needs to be able to be done. Mombasa, not everyone gets water from MOWASCO, but everyone flushes. I'm going to repeat this. Not everyone gets water from MOWASCO, but every single person who is a resident of Mombasa, whether you are the governor, you are the senator, or whoever you are, you flush. That means you use the sewer system for MOWASCO. The plan is not even just to talk about this 500 shillings. This 500 shillings, and it is by law. Nairobi is already doing it. And this is acceptable if we need to be able to ensure that these problems that are there need to be able to be fixed, we have to come up with solutions. And to come up with solutions, we have to be bold enough. Bold enough to face and say that this is what needs to be done. The issue here is not about just the water bill alone. For those who do not have MOWASCO water, once we have our house in order, the next one is going to be putting meters in our boreholes. Because you might not be using MOWASCO water but you're using Moasco's sewer system. And this 500 shillings, we are actually going to coagulate it to become, so that in the interest that we do not hurt the people of Mombasa, it will be for both solid waste, and we will try and average it out legally to work on solid waste and liquid waste as well. So I want to assure, and if the committee wishes, we can be able to provide those necessary approvals that were done. If the committee wishes, we can be able to provide the public participation reports that were done. If the committee wishes, we can be able to provide incidents where this is happening in other parts of this country. 2, is the senator right that what was happening is people are given occupation licenses? He's very right. Occupation licenses that were being issued out from when I was in high school. People, every single person, no one did the right thing. Every single person was either connecting on stormwater, and if you're not connecting on stormwater, you're connecting direct into the ocean. A classic example is where the senator usually passes whenever he goes to pray near the ocean in Chuda. Every single person went and connected. I had 2 options as the governor of Mombasa. One of the options was to issue a demolition order against the whole of Chuda. And by the way, legally, there was nothing that was going to stop me. But then I had to look at it. The people of that area, they've bought that house. Someone bought a flat from another person, who bought it from another person, who bought it from another person, and they've had several buyers. So the thing that we wanted to do, first of all, to fix that problem that the senator was raising on the occupation license, we have now made everything digital. That means the inspection officers who are going to a premises to inspect that particular building, they all have gadgets that are actually geofenced, and they cannot be able to issue anything until they are actually at that particular premises. As we speak right now, for the last 1.5 months, that has been active. So if you go to a premises and inspect, you have to go there. You cannot go there unless, of course, you log into the system as a building inspector of the county government. And the system actually now allows for us to be able to take pictures so that we can be able to confirm. Otherwise, it becomes very problematic, Chair. You will agree with me. And it has happened. It has happened over and over and over again. We did this not for purposes of just the sewer. We did this for purposes of ensuring that our building inspectors are going to ensure that we have safe buildings. And the system is working as we speak right now. So, Chair, what did we do? Or what has Mombasa gone ahead and tried to do? And this is the reason why I insist I need a very, very bold team at Moasco. I am bold enough to say it here in front of the Senate under oath. Mombasa cannot move the way we are currently moving. We went ahead and advertised for someone to be able to give us a solution on sewer, the same way someone was to give us a solution on solid waste. The way you had indicated that we will not be able to get an investor with our figures being the way they are, we actually got an investor. We were in the process of finalizing everything. We finalized for hazardous waste, we finalized for solid waste. Politics took the better part of it. Someone went, and newspapers, being newspapers, so unfortunately, went and reported that the county government of Mombasa has gone and paid a certain foreign company 17 billion, when that company had not even been paid a shilling. I've been taken to court 3 cases, our judiciary. 3 cases. Out of all those 3 cases, the judge makes a ruling and says that you guys can continue, but I will make my judgment on this particular date. And these investors are now asking themselves, here we are investing in a county We don't have a sovereign guarantee that we will be given. We don't have title deeds that we are holding into place. We don't have anything else except the fact that we have a solid plan and we have management of the county government of Mombasa who are willing to be able to execute this solid plan. A politician decides to take us to court. No money was spent, even a shilling. 2 days ago, I was looking at, I was getting reports that the people of Old Town have been crying about this. These are pipes that have been there for a century. We needed to be able to get an investor that is going to be able to change this. These are people who over the year have been connecting, continuously on stormwater. The whole of Mombasa, Chair, the whole of Mombasa. You take the line, all the hotels, the whole of Nyali. There's no sewer line. Everything was built on the basis that everyone will come up with a septic tank. After they've put up that septic tank, then someone comes and picks and it goes to the relevant place. Kipevu has been dead for 13 years. Kizingo treatment plant has been dead for 33 years. 33 years ago, if I start telling you where I was 33 years ago, and we have to fix this problem now. And these problems will not be fixed by shying away from making tough decisions. Election year or no election year, a tough decision has to be made for us to be able to bring those particular changes that we want. It's unfortunate. I've been taken to court, Chair, on this matter, and I'm hoping that we move with the speed.
Okay, very well. I know time is not on our side. We are.
If you could supply the approval from Wasre.
Yes,
I will do that.
You
Yes.
need to supply us with the documents.
I will do that, Chair.
indicated.
I will do that.
And also, the charges. You also need to indicate, apart from the law that you have outlined, how that also affected the tariff structure.
It did
So
not.
maybe that's
Chair,
what-
maybe I make this very clear. Today, KPA is collecting our parking fees. If KPA came up with the kind of thinking that is being proposed, that actually it was a tariff, today we would not be having those parking fees being collected by KPA. KPA was only a collecting agent. The same way Moasco is merely a collecting agent. In fact, my thinking, first of all, was not even for us to use KPA. This country needs to go into the directions of other countries in the world. If we truly want to move, we cannot be able to sit down and be, thinking otherwise. One of the things that I wanted to do was to actually have a collection using power meters. It is doable in other parts of the world.
Fine, Governor.
I will provide that, Chair.
So how much time do you need to provide that?
Chair, about 7 days I'll be able to provide you everything to you.
The clerk, you need to note that. 7 days, the documentation on those charges. So, honorable members, let's now look at the last issue, which is unresolved prior year matters. And on this one, the auditor had picked there was the issue of direct discharge of raw sewer to Indian Ocean and the issue of stalled project, Kipevu West Water Treatment Plant. Governor, you are aware that this committee visited the site and some promises were made to us about the completion of this project by December, was it December 2024? So maybe you can tell us more about it.
Chair, I would have really hoped, like I said, I would have really hoped if we had the proper management to be around. But considering that the one who is dealing with the contractors on this particular one on a day-to-day, and she has been going to the meetings with the World Bank as well, maybe I'll allow Habiba just to be able to give us an indication as to where we have reached on that particular contract. For the, I think, Chair, you're referring to the one for Kipevu, isn't it?
Yes, Kipevu water treatment plant, and also the progress towards dealing with the matter of direct discharge to Indian Ocean.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for that. Thank you, Your Excellency. Currently, the works are ongoing for the specific contract. We had received a contract extension for the Kipevu treatment works and also the other projects, because there was a component of electromechanical items that were to be brought in from abroad. So we're expected the works to be completed by February of this year for those projects, whereas some projects will be able to be completed by the end of this month.
Went to the deadline of December last year.
So through the World Bank missions that have been ongoing, when the team were on site to see the progress of works, there was minimal works that was pending. So that's when we were given an additional extension so that we complete the ongoing works.
Honourable members, anyone to chip in? Senator Faki?
Chair, it's my concern that, we are building, we are saying that we have a world-class port. The port of Mombasa is a world-class facility. But then within that facility, we are discharging raw waste into the sea. It's not what we call a welcome scenario. Because that Kipevu is right at the port, right at the port headquarters.
We've been there.
Yeah, we have been there. So, and it has taken long because, okay, we can say some time ago that there was a problem of accessing the funds because we had not passed the county additional allocation of revenue. But since we visited the project, we have had two cycles of financial years. Yeah, and up to now that it has not been completed, it really begs some questions. And on top of that, discharge of raw sewer. Now it appears to be the modus operandi in Mombasa, because on the other side of Chuda we have a similar problem. In the old town we have a similar problem of discharge of raw sewer into the ocean, and we eat those fish. We eat the fish that comes from those places. So it's not a very healthy occurrence for the people of Mombasa.
Chair, maybe I can because this is direct on the issues of Mombasa, maybe I can just be able to clarify on that.
I wanted to combine several issues and then you can respond to them at once. Any other senator? Okay, I think you can proceed.
Chair, I want to clarify one thing. I think maybe the art of speaking and the art of explanation is not on everyone's sleeve. But when the team came from the World Bank to actually oversee this, they realized that there was a component called electromagnetic. I'm not a technician, I'm not an electrician, I'm not an engineer. But then actually three, Moasco, the contractor, and also the World Bank agreed that this component is very vital. That particular component called the electromechanic, which was not part of the initial contract. After having put everything into places, when they ended up realizing that it is important. With World Bank money, it is important we cannot just make a decision on our own. It has to pass through them. So eventually they did pass the same. And in fact, the contractor was willing to let go of the site without this. But then they said that the whole thing will end up not being proper without that particular one component. And that component is not something that is manufactured locally. It is a component that is imported and it has to be imported, custom made for a particular sewage plant. So eventually when they agreed is what they are now fixing, but if you look at the place itself, the works have been finished excluding that particular one. I also want to just state, for avoidance of doubt, even if we were to fix Kipevu, again, it has been dead for 13 years. I'm glad that during our time we're finalizing this. But even if we were to fix Kipevu, it does not mean that we have fixed the sewer problem in Mombasa. If you go to the one in Old Town, has been dead for 33 years. In fact, the current investor that we're hoping is not going to be shied away totally had actually indicated a situation where, because everyone, all the teams, the engineers and all the people that were sent by Moasco directly indicated that they cannot use the same line that is there. It is only these people who came in and said, no, there is a technology that we can use we can be able to revive this particular. But like I said, we have two options. We either lament or we take action. And it is very unfortunate that every time we want to take action, we have always been, someone has gone to court, someone makes this comment. As much as these comments really don't matter, they're neither here nor there, because at the end of the day, what is most important is after you have done the job, then things just come out on their own. But when your hands get tied up now on a legal perspective, it becomes another challenge altogether. Even if we were to fix Kipevu, we will still be on 17,000 cubic meters. The amount of waste that is produced by Mombasa supersedes that. There's a need for us to build a whole fecal treatment plant that is going to handle all the waste, because Mombasa's waste, majority of it is not on the pipe. Chair. We have to fix this problem by investing in a fecal treatment plant, ensuring that all these people, otherwise then the next lot that has to happen is to give a demolition order, which is not the right direction for anyone to go, whether an election year or not an election year.
Governor, it looks like you have a lot in your hands.
And I'm up to the challenge.
To do within a short time. So, any other issue, honorable members? Maybe you need to tell us what are the timelines on this Kipevu project.
Well, Kipevu, Chair, the contractor has talked about end of February. Before end of February, they would have been done. The other one, we are really hoping, we are really praying that we don't end up scaring away investors who are ready to put in their money. And then the whole idea was they were meant to recuperate their money through that little payment that comes from every user of that particular service. If we decide to put up a whole fecal treatment plant on our own, which will have to cover the area of Chuda, the area of part of Majengo, the whole of Nyali, the whole of Congo, Kisauni, all the way Shomoroni, and you go all the way up to Shanzu. If we wanted to do that using CRF, County Revenue Fund directly, I'll need to come and beg for a lot of money. The only way out is to bring an investor on board. We have to think as if there's no box that exists. We cannot even think out of the box. We have to do things differently. Otherwise, we will end up building things every day. We'll have pending bills of billions out there that need to be paid.
Okay, I think the committee we will revisit the site Kipevu again in April, and from your explanation, I hope the project would have been complete so that we basically be coming to verify.
Maybe we can allow, Chair, we'll invite you for the commissioning of the same.
No problem.
the committee.
You will be there because...
Not on your capacity as something else, but as chair of committee.
No, I will come there as the chair of committee. So I think this one is very important, Governor, that these two issues be dispensed with by the indicated date. Because as Faki says, you cannot say you have a world-class port and then on the other side...
I totally agree.
You are drawing sewage.
I totally agree with the wisdom of my senator. He's very right, Chair.
Yeah. So, honorable members, I think we have come to the end of this. You have a comment within the matters that we have discussed?
Yes.
Proceed.
Maybe, Your Excellency the Governor, even before you get the investors to see what you can do about the direct discharge to the road to the Indian Ocean, maybe the people are constructing buildings. The count can hold them accountable to gather together maybe 4 or 5 people and build a biodigester. They work. You can build one biodigester for a whole village.
That is true.
And it will discharge there. And it won't cost more than $1 million or so.
Actually,
so if that can be done, then discharging the sewer to the sea, that can help before you get the investors that you're looking for.
we're actually proposing, Chair, you see one of the major things that is there, that is why we have to put these borehole meters. A block of apartments does not belong to one. This one person built that 20 years ago, sold it to someone. One apartment a brother inherited, another apartment another brother sold, another apartment a sister decided to give it to her husband, another apartment a child decided to take it over, and so every single building has different ownership. In the process of that now is who do you hold accountable? When we took office, one of the first things that happened, and I think this was actually under the Deputy Governor, where we had said exactly what you're saying. We went in with a very, very big bang, and we shut down all this. And now these people come and say that I'm a fourth owner. How do I know where this toilet is actually going? So one of the proposals that we have is, because you cannot hold one person responsible for putting that biodigester there, is that we actually allow Moasco to look for a company or companies that can be able to set up these biodigesters. And as they put these biodigesters there, they recuperate their investment through that water discharge that is going to be able to come out. It is a feasible thing, it is acceptable. And by the way, even with the plan that we have, even with that 500 shillings that we are proposing, that we're not proposing, we've enacted into law. Currently, there are already people who are out there, young people who are collecting waste. It was done as a trial. We took quite a number of and for the areas that we did this, it's actually working, because we are telling the residents, don't pay anyone else. You don't have to pay anyone for the sewer. You don't have to pay anyone for the solid waste collection. We will do it as a county government, as our role, as our mandate. So that is one of the things that we are proposing to do, yes.
Okay, so honorable members, we will now end our examination of these audit reports, and we have spoken so much until we are very tired, including the yours truly. So I don't think I will have the luxury to give you a chance to make your final comments.
Thank you, Chair.
I will adjourn the meeting until tomorrow at 9. So that I allow you to go and rest, and I allow the county government of Mombasa to travel back home. So I wish you safe journey home, Governor.
Chair, I want to congratulate the Senate you are truly doing marvelous when it comes to the constitutional and the legal obligations of ensuring that all accounts are actually up to date. You are moving faster than your brothers and sisters on the other house, where I was before. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but I'm just saying that based on everything else, it is our hope that the National Assembly as well will be able to move with the same speed, so that equitable share, when it is being calculated, it is going to be calculated on the current figures. But I want to congratulate the Senate and to congratulate all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We adjourn until tomorrow morning, 9.